Spellbinders has these beautiful 3D butterfly stickers. So I decided to paint a watercolor canvas and add these stunning butterflies to it. Hi everyone, it's Joy here and welcome back to my channel. I got sent 2 packages of these butterflies, these 3D sticker butterflies. I'm going to use the package on the right. I will use the other ones for a package, or excuse me, for a project, oh my gosh, another day. I am starting by splattering my canvas. This is a 4" by 12" canvas. There is no water on it, but I'm splattering it with watercolor inks. I'm using Altenew's 12 half pans, and then these little jars right here that I'm using are Luminart, and they're kind of metallic watercolors, but I can't find them anywhere to link them for you guys. I'm so sorry, but any watercolor will work. This is what I had in my stash, and I really liked that color purple. So I used 2 different colors of purple. So if you have the Luminart, I used Snapdragon and Lavender. So I'm going to add a little bit more splattering here. I'm going to do the, I've seen this a lot. I did a video with alcohol inks splattering and creating flowers, but this is actually watercolor, and I've seen this done a lot. And this was my first time doing it with watercolors. I am not a watercolorist, and so I don't know much about it, but this turned out pretty darn cute. So I'm getting my brush here pretty wet, and then I'm going over some of those dots that we splattered on the background and creating little flowers with them. I decided I needed some of that darker, I think it's the Snapdragon, a little bit more of that on the background. And then I'm just creating these little abstract flowers because I'm not great at this, or making flowers. But this was so much fun. I'm really have been wanting to get into watercolors, and this just absolutely fed that desire more, so I'm super excited about it. But as you can see, this goes really easy, and I really don't think that you can mess this up. You're just taking the water from your brush and creating what looks like little flowers. As you can see, I am having them go in different directions. I do have different sizes, and I think that's what makes it look a little more organic and natural, like these are really pretty flowers, maybe blowing in the wind outside. And so that's how the way I'm looking at it when I'm laying this out. So let's do another little one here. And then I just kind of felt like that was good. Now I'm going to take green from my Altenew half pan here of watercolors. I'm going to splatter at the bottom. I will do a little splattering up at the top, and I'm kind of following where the flowers go because I do want a little bit of greenery. We are also going to create stems and leaves, greenery at the base of the flowers, but it all is really super simple, and it turned out lovely. So I'm going to be very light-handed. I have this very thin watercolor brush. I'm getting it wet, dipping it in that green. And then I'm trying to, for the most part, do one kind of swoop down. They're not going to be perfectly straight. Think about that. You don't want your stems just straight all the way down. Again, it needs to feel more natural, more organic. There's going to be a little bend to it. And so that's what I'm doing here. This is actually a birthday gift for my mother-in-law. When I got the butterflies, I thought she would really love this. Butterflies make her think of my daughter who has passed away, and purple is both of their favorite colors. So I just thought this would be a really nice gift for her to make her think of my daughter, and something that she knows that they both have the same color as their favorite. So I just think it'll be something she really enjoys, and it's handmade, so I think that's always fun too. So let's finish with the last few of these stems. I actually traded to the brush that I was painting the flowers with, because it's kind of this barrel brush. I don't even know what it's called because I don't know watercoloring, but it does have a tip on it, so it was easier to do. Now I'm taking this that same paintbrush, a little bit of water, and blending upwards and downwards, blending out some of those splatters with green at the bottom. We will add some more grass in a little bit later. I do have this very small detail brush, and I'm going to create some leaves all over these stems, and you'll kind of see me go all over the place. It's just where my eyes were going, and then I could say, oh, we need some leaves here, we need some leaves there, and I just kind of fill in as I go. I am wanting to make sure that my leaves are not super dark. One of my stems, they were a little too dark, but once they dried, I added a little more water to them and lightened them up. So I am blending my watercolor out onto the lid of the pan so it's a little bit lighter and not so dark from the watercolor pan itself. So let's add a few more. And I just think this is turning out so nice. Now, I also decided to add a little more detail to the flowers. So we're also going to do that. But this was really super simple, guys, especially for someone who has no idea how to paint flowers. I have no idea about watercolor, but this worked out so nice and easy, and what a fun little gift. But if you didn't want to do it on a piece of canvas, you could do this easily on some watercolor cardstock. You could do this exact same concept. Now I'm adding a little bit of greenery at the base of the flowers where the stems go into the flower. And some of it does blend with that purple a little bit, but I don't care. I still think it looks great. Doesn't bother me at all. It kind of picks up some of that purple, but I think that's what's kind of awesome about watercolor. It just kind of blends together nicely. But you can see now these are really starting to look like flowers instead of little purple blobs. We're giving it more shape, more definition, adding some more detail this way. And you could leave the flowers just like this. I do think they are really, really pretty just like this. But I'm going to add the tiniest bit of detail with a little bit more purple. So kind of a wet on dry technique. So that small paintbrush, little bit of purple, and I can't even tell you, I'm just adding little areas that you have this darker color. And once it dries, it might be just a little bit darker, but it gives a little extra layer of something on the flowers. So I'm dipping my brush in water, then dipping it in that color and blend and kind of mixing it on my palette there. So it's not too dark, but if it gets too dark, just let it dry, dip your brush in water, and then just kind of blend it out a little bit. That's what I did. I don't know if that's proper watercolor etiquette, but that's what I did, and it worked. But you can see now some of this detail is just adding that little something extra to the flowers. And it's almost like I'm adding little dots, but then it's kind of blending together depending on how much water I have on my brush and how much paint I have on my brush. But I do like how it turned out. So let's finish these last couple little flowers. And then I do want to add some more grass greenery towards the bottom. So I've got a longer detail brush, and I'm just starting at the bottom and working my way up in kind of longer strokes. Some of them are shorter, some of them are longer, and just to give us a little bit more grass. I'm going to do that. Oh, here's that longer brush. The other one was a shorter brush. Here is that longer brush. And the grass I'm also kind of curving. I don't want that perfectly straight either. Then I'm going to splatter some of that green back onto the bottom. And I do use my heat tool to gently dry between some of these layers because I wanted to do like the wet on dry technique. Then I'm using that turquoise in that half pan, and I'm going to splatter on the background. Just a little bit. And then from my Luminart, I have the Solar Gold, and I am going to splatter that on the background as well. But I think this is coming along beautifully. Time for these butterflies. I originally was going to start with 3, then I was going to do 5, and then I ended up with 4. It took me a minute to figure out because I'm used to making cards, and I'm like, oh, there needs to be a sentiment in here, but I obviously didn't put that because I want this to be a piece of art that my mother-in-law can put wherever she would like. But I am using the pink one. Well, there's 2 pinks. There's a lighter pink and a darker pink, then the turquoise and the yellow, so it's nice and colorful. I am just setting these down because they are stickers, so I'm not pressing them down yet until I get where I want them to go. I did think that first layout with the 3 was pretty, but I opted for 4, which is really weird because I tend to go for odd numbers, but I felt like it needed 4, and 5 looked way too many. So I'm just going to press those down in place. And then we have our finished little piece of art here using these beautiful butterflies from Spellbinders. And look at how stunning that is. And that fun watercolor flower watercolored background. Thank you guys so very much for stopping by and watching. I hope that you enjoyed this project, and I hope that you feel inspired. Thank you so much for all of your support, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye.